Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Puzzled Minds podcast. Today's guest is JessTheSiren, so please give her a warm welcome.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for reaching out to us.
I've been
Thank you guys for having me.
a long time. It's gonna be a fun one.
Oh, it's definitely going to be a fun one. Today's topic is brought to you by the letter O for Onlyfans, and we kind of just want to talk about Onlyfans and what it is and what it means to you and stuff like that. So if you want, you can start it off, Tadiwa.
Yeah. I guess we'll start it off with like what first drew you to OnlyFans? Because I've seen like everyone's journey to this app. I think it's basically an app or an internet service. I'm not sure exactly what it's identified as, but like I'm always curious to see what drew people to OnlyFans. Because sometimes you get people that are already in that industry, because OnlyFans itself is just a service that essentially you can post things on there and get paid for. But now it's become something else, essentially, where it's almost like an adult content service. So
it's almost synonymous with like a amateur Pornhub kind of a deal.
Exactly, yeah. So what drew you to it?
So a couple of things. So first and foremost, all right. So men in general will ask, and it's generally like cishet men, like straight men, will ask for nudes, and I admire. It's kind of like when a dog really, really wants like food, but they know they've never gotten food. But I admire the tenacity behind, like consistently asking, but not really. So essentially, like men created a market, or the men that ask for nudes, I should say, for free, created a market because you get tired of pretty much random people asking. So you're like, here, so if I charge you a fee, would you pay a fee to see me naked? And it turns out that very much yes. So yeah, that was my main driver. The second one was I've always been really open about and really sex positive in general. I think there's really little to no shame that should be had behind any consensual sexual act or feeling or want, you know what I mean? Like if it turns you on, like if no one's getting hurt, I don't think anyone should be shamed for it, as long as all adult parties are consensual, and that's it. So I think that I won't say I live on the fringes, but I'm a huge
pretty open from the get-go. Like that's pretty awesome.
I'm also
there's some people that hide it. Almost to a certain degree where they almost are apprehensive about it. Revealing the fact that they're on this app, because there is. I mean, truth be told, there is a stigma with it.
Oh yeah. Oh for sure.
Like, people are willing to subscribe to a porn site, but are not willing to admit, are on OnlyFans or something of the sort. So I guess that's the interesting thing about it now, where it feels like, especially men as well too, like you mentioned before, like heterosexual men are willing to flat out ask women for nudes for free, like flat out. Like I did too in my younger days, like ask for a titty picture or whatever.
Yeah, correct.
But the second you put a dollar on it,
it's just that they create a market. So yeah, there's that, and like, so I'm also big on doing work with decriminalization of psychedelics and research in psychedelics and their applications in psychiatry and psychology and a bunch of other stuff. So I kind of, my work is very much, I have no problem like living on the fringes, like I said, of what people think is acceptable and trying to change minds about stuff that I really think is important that we accept. I think that a lot of sexual repression is responsible for a lot of messed up shit that happens.
True.
Yeah, people being able to like it's fine to have sexual desires. It's fine to want to put them out there. I mean, some people have free OnlyFans. Some people don't make money off of a platform. They just, some people just like being exhibitionists, and there's nothing wrong with that.
That's the interesting thing, because not everyone makes money off of it. So why is there a stigma? Like there's no stigma of porn. Like porn is widely accepted that,
but there is. So there's a stigma. If I went into mainstream porn, I used to work with a girl. I used to work at Hooters many years ago. And I worked with a girl who was super nice. I had no idea, but she had done porn. And when she came to us, there was a manager who happened to find one of her videos and like, kind of like a dick. I mean, there's no reason to bring that shit to work. Like if it's different if people run across it. But when you bring it to work, and I mean, like before the end of the day, it was like, something that was well known, and it wasn't something that was well received. You feel me? Like, people are willing to jerk off to you, but they're not willing to accept you as a human being outside of that, like, sexual, like, you know, like, it's kind of like they're ashamed, like I don't want to look at you after I've jerked off to you. In reality, like, I'm big on forcing people to, like, understand that, first, like, you didn't choose what you're into, so don't judge other people for what they're into. Second, like, stop being weird and repressive. It's fucked up. Like, wherever that repression's coming from, whether it's you know, like deep-seated shit you never worked out with, you know, the way you were brought up by your parents or whoever brought you up, or whether it's sexual desires you can't face, like, that does not, like, no psychologist or psychiatrist is going to tell you that repression of any of that is going to be good.
So would you say OnlyFans is something that's liberating people? Because I wonder,
Yes.
I've always described OnlyFans as a Pandora's box. Like, it's neither good nor bad, because the app itself
Correct.
not necessarily wasn't necessarily made with the intent for what it's being used for currently. So I wonder, because I found that, like, back in the day, you know, like, I always use back in the day for any time as long as like 10 years, I'm just like back in the day, right? So
Same.
back in the day, like, someone that would get into the do something like what people are doing on OnlyFans now, they would pretty much have to be an adult performer. But it seems like with the option of, like, something like OnlyFans now, it's almost enticing people that have never considered it to become one.
Yes.
So
Yes.
would you say it's empowering people, or people are more into it because of the, I guess, the monetary? Because I've seen some friends where they've never ever considered, they're probably the shyest people I've ever met, right? But the fact that OnlyFans almost has, like, it's the easy access where you just have to take a few photos, or you can do videos or whatever.
Yes.
It seems like people are more comfortable with it. But those are the same people that wouldn't do porn, which is very odd.
Yes and no. In porn, there's a real a pretty well-based fear of women are not treated the best in mainstream porn. Let's just to say the freaking least. I think a couple of years ago, they do the porn awards, whatever. But I think the winner for best anal scene was two guys on one girl. She passed out, like, she fell unconscious during the scene. They kept going, and they won. And they won. And those men are still, like, this woman was in the hospital for 2 weeks after that because she had internal bleeding. That's no joke. This cross, you know what I mean? That's when it crosses into, like, that's not funny. That's not porn. No one's getting off of that. You're an asshole. So, and that was the thing. They won awards for that. So, and these are still performing men, and you can very much look that up. So there's a little bit of fear behind that. There's like a real, like, exploitation behind a lot of that. And I'm not saying anything negative about the women that choose to go that route at all, but this makes it so that you're your own boss.
Okay. So it's safety almost to a certain degree as well too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you choose who you perform with. Right. I'm not saying that they don't get a choice in who they perform with, but, you know, for me to film with you, I think there's another level of trust than, like, you know, two agents get us together. Like, I mean, film in my bedroom. Then, like, two agents get us together and we film on, like, a porn set. And that's just me. That would just be my run with it. But and yeah, so I've been offered jobs in, like, mainstream porn, and so, like, I didn't take it, and I'll explain why. So it's a good example of the exploitation thing. So I don't remember where I answered an ad, whatever. It was legit porn. Like, I looked, there was a company. I know I don't know, but the person I could look them up, the person I was speaking to. So they were like some production douche, whatever. So the deal was, it was like a blowjob scene. So I'm in North Jersey. That was in Long Island. It's at least a 2-hour drive. So understanding that it's not a matter of if people will find you on the internet, it's a matter of that people will find you. You know what I mean? People, 100% will. I don't care whether you block zip codes, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's like campsites that'll block. Listen, you're on the internet forever. You have no idea who's recording, secondary recording. You know what I mean? So people are gonna find it. And I think the offer was you can do two scenes back to back. They pay $4 or $4.50 each. So that's almost $1,000. Okay. Now I was like, okay, I can do this. Mind you, I'm getting ready to leave. I told him it's a 2-hour drive. So I said, I'm basically leaving now. And this guy hits me with, so we're only doing one scene and it only pays $4.
Oh, shit. So he, like,
assuming that I was pretty much on my fucking way and I was just going to be like, yeah, sure. And I was like, hell no. Because basically, like, it's like I just said, it's different. Yes, it's 2 scenes, it's 2 videos, but, like, you're just manipulative.
Mhm.
Yeah, so he switched the terms of the contract essentially on you at the last moment.
Accurate.
So it's
Yes.
kind of like I guess in a very vague sense, kind of like independent labels versus like record
Yes.
labels. You know, you have
Um.
control of whatever
mhm.
you want to do, how you want to do it, and stuff like that. And I guess with the
Yes.
porn industry, you know, they kind of obviously regulate what you do and
Yes.
what's shown and all that stuff.
And like, on OnlyFans, if people subscribe to your page, they can talk to you, like, no matter
Mhm.
how active you are. I know I follow girls on Twitter that are like in the 0.08% of OnlyFans. You know what I mean?
So can
And these
we?
girls respond to people that are subscribers, and they have thousands of subscribers,
Yeah.
but they fucking talk back
So
to you,
can you
and
break
that
down?
matters.
Can you
Yeah,
break
can
down what that means? The
like how?
0.08. You know.
Okay, so OnlyFans gives out a percentage that basically like is fluid. So the percentage is you're in the top blank percentage of OnlyFans. Like I think right now I'm hovering at like 13. When I first started my OnlyFans, when people were really like, oh my goodness, I think I was down to like 7. But that was also before I kind of got like exactly the flow of effort. Like it's a lot of work. I'm not gonna lie. It's not. We'll get into the misconception part, but that's one of them. Like people think, oh, it's just taking naked pictures of yourself and posting them. Yes and no. Like sometimes you're filming video. Sometimes video completely is garbage once you film it and you realize you did something completely wrong. So it's a lot of learning how to do your own shoots, what works for you, what your people want, what your niche is, like why do people want to pay money for you.
Yeah.
Um
So can you break down like how this whole like from start to finish like
Yeah.
how like if someone
like
wants
how
to
the website
like
works and whatever.
yeah
And
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
someone signs up and like like subscriptions, views, like
Right.
how does that all work?
Okay, so your page can be either paid or free. What that means is this. If it's a paid page, that means that as a subscriber, I would pay a subscription fee monthly for access to your page.
Mhm.
Now, the way people typically run it, there's 2 ways, or at least, yeah, it's broken down into like 2 ways that people typically run their pages. The first one is the most common, and it's not what I started with. I now basically have a second page that's waiting because I don't know. I've never dipped my toe in this particular way to do it, but the way you do it. So let's say my subscription fee is $5.
Mhm.
You have access to see whatever I post, whatever I allow you to see in my feed. Now, for some people, that means that every single post in their feed now has a pay-per-view fee. I'll explain. So if I post a picture of me topless, but I post like emojis over the picture, or, over my nipples, I can charge you whatever the hell I want to get you to unlock the picture. Now, I've seen some women that charge 99 cents. I've seen some women that charge $5. And like the girls that charge, I mean, they obviously have a following, but I've definitely seen women that charge $5 to unlock a single picture, and they have like 1,000 likes on the picture. Like people have bought this a ton of times. So it's always like, I mean, if that's not empowering, that, but yeah. So there's that way to do it. Some people post some stuff, like some lewd stuff, for free. This girl that I follow on Twitter, I really happen to like the way she runs her page because she's her name's Savannah Solo on Twitter. So she does a lot of cosplay stuff. She's freaking hilarious. I think her page is like $6, but she posts like funny videos. Basically, it's just her. It's her. I think someone described her OnlyFans as the weird shit you do when you're alone, naked at home. And I have to say that's really accurate. But it's it's accurate. But it's not like, don't get me wrong. She makes quality porn, but she'll make videos of herself or of her playing OnlyFans people or OnlyFans customers, and it's hilarious. Like and a lot of people can relate to this. So she basically has you're not just like subscribing to like the porn. You're seeing who the person is. You know what I mean? A lot of if you do this correctly, like they should see your personality come through. You should be interacting a lot. I mean, this girl will have like and she's not the only one, but you can have live sessions with a bunch of your followers, and like sometimes conversations. I think there was something about her going to get googly eyes and putting them on her butt. Like that was like yeah, correct, accurate. Like filming, like it's not just like these extremely sexual conversations with these followers. These people have like a connection with you. You're like the hot girl that'll get naked with them in the room, but no one has to see.
Yeah, it's sounds a little more personalized, and I guess maybe that's the reason why.
Yeah.
I guess the kind of segue into like the next question I have, like, I guess, do you think the personalization might be why some people have an issue with it? because maybe like, because I think porn is very indifferent. Like if you're watching, you know, something
Yeah.
on Bang Bros or whatever it is, because I guess the only stigma I've seen is there's always been that question, like, would you date a person that has an OnlyFans account? And
So yeah.
and that tends to be the big debate, right? Because OnlyFans seems, from what you've described, seems to have a bit of almost personality to it. Like they interact with their fans. You know, you can send custom
Yes.
videos versus porn is just like click on the category, whatever video, and then just go to town on it, right? So
Yeah, pretty much. I
how has this affected your, I guess, you know, like, I guess your romantic life? Do you see, is this something, information that you divulge to people? Like if you're going on a date or you really like somebody, you
yes.
tell them
I
up
tell them
front?
off the bat. There should be no issue with, like, this is who I'm very much, like I said, I'm very upfront with just pretty much everything. So this is who I am. What you see is what you get. I don't change myself for shit. And if you're coming in here and like if you're going to A, take away my bread and butter, but B, like, you're going to be that like sexually repressed, or that whack about it. Like, why? Like, what would be the issue behind that? Then I kind of don't want to deal with it. I do understand the hesitation to probably introduce me to parents. But like, like, I get it because yeah. But I also understand that, like,
but OnlyFans can be OnlyFans, I feel like it can almost be like there is a good chance no one could even find out, because it's different with porn. Like with porn, it's like OnlyFans, you have to pay, you know, a dollar amount, and you know, amount for someone to really know. So if they even know you have OnlyFans, chances are that it's probably because they're paying for it, which would be contradictory if they had an issue with it.
That's really funny because I don't remember exactly what the situation was, but I got into it online with some guy that was like just out of line, and like the way he described me, it was some person I did not know. This is on Facebook has no real connection to my OnlyFans. I do have my OnlyFans page linked, like, but that is, you know what I mean, I don't advertise on there. But I haven't been on there in months. When I think I made some comment to some guy, and he went on my page and was like, oh, well, you know, you charge people to get naked or whatever. But at the time, I did not have my OnlyFans linked to there. And when I did the math, I went on, like, you know, my list of subscribers, and I was like, dude, you pay me. You can't shit on what I do. You fucking pay me.
That's funny.
So I'm big on, like, you know, if let's say I were to meet someone's parents and they ask me what I do, I'm not going to lie about it. But also, it's a really hard thing to shit on when, like, it like pays your bills and doesn't just, like, it's different than, I feel like it's okay, there's nothing degrading about doing porn, period. But the stigma that people have behind it, I feel like is way, like I said, if you're your own whatever and you're successful, like, that's pretty hard to fight. Like, what are you going to say to me? I'm sorry that you get paid because you do things that I do for free? Like,
I guess it's pretty tricky. I mean, if you're going to talk about, like, the boomer generation, there's basically nothing you can tell. No, I don't think there's anything a millennial can tell them that they'd agree with. But I guess I'm more looking into the stigma even amongst other millennials with OnlyFans, because it seems like,
it's bad.
Yeah, it seems like, for example, like, I've always wondered, like, I remember I was listening to this other podcast, and one of the topics was actually, ironically enough, about OnlyFans. And they had two different scenarios, right? They had one scenario that was, what if you're already dating an individual, right? Your emotions are already involved, you already love the person, you know, things are well, and then they brought up the idea of, like, they want to do an OnlyFans. And then the other scenario was the individual, you know, up front does OnlyFans. For some reason, the biggest debate was most individuals in a relationship had an issue with the person once they're already invested, you know, in the person having an OnlyFans. Because from the position that they were expressing, they were saying that it was mainly because there is a level of intimacy that most people think should be private. I kind of subscribe to that theory as well too, where if I'm with somebody, I would love that the things we do in the bedroom are, like, personal, like this for us, you know, no matter what it is, you know. It's like, that's the great thing about being in relationships, right? You can do whatever freaky stuff you want, right? But
question. Wait, can I I hate interrupting, but can I ask you, would it change if the girl, if like she had an earning, pretend, I don't mean to put it like this, but like if I told you that the difference was she could bring in like 10 grand a month without mincing words, would that change your opinion?
You do what you got to do. That's what I'm
saying.
Say.
So would you feel differently about the privacy issue if there were money involved?
For 10K? Fuck no, let's go.
I see
let's
that.
Go, right?
I think it's
let's go.
I see. I think it's easy to say that, but one thing I'm just being 100% honest.
Please, I want you to.
Yeah, like, I think that I could eventually. One, it depends on how much I love the person. Like, if it's someone I really love, I think that I can get over most things, but I definitely do think it would be a topic of contention, right?
Okay.
Because it's essentially, it's like, what is the difference between what we're doing and then what you're posting? Like, if there's a difference, you know, like, the things that we do privately,
Mhm.
I don't think I would care that much, but I think that might be the issue of OnlyFans is because what makes it great and separates it from other things is that there's a personalization to it. Like the people that subscribe
Yes.
to your page, for example, feel like you're really talking to them. You're really sending them these videos just for them. But
Yes.
also it's like, man, okay, well, then what is the person that you're in a relationship getting? And I guess that's the
Well,
part that I think it gets into kind of murky waters for some people.
yeah, it definitely is. I think there's also like I for 90% of my life was pretty much just like of the monogamous mindset, and that would, I think I would have had a lot more of an issue. I would probably say now I don't know what, I guess non-monogamous, like ethically non-monogamous, or just like some level of, I don't know that it's natural for a lot of people to expect that like for the rest of their lives they're never going to be sexually attracted to another human being, and like,
yeah, of course.
or
Yeah.
that there's some sort of wrong behind it. Like, you know what I mean? Again, it comes down to that repression. Like, does it mean that you love the person less? Like, not necessarily. If you're open with it, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not lying to anyone, you're not going behind anyone's back, or you're following preset rules to whatever, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I think that it requires you to be a lot more open. So I
think that's the
Yeah, a
part
lot
that
more.
I'm glad you
Mhm.
mentioned that, because I think that's
Yeah.
the element that could actually get the stigma off of OnlyFans, is that
Yes.
there seems to be a secretive element to it, ironically enough, due to the stigma, right?
Yes.
So I always say like this: if I were in a scenario, for example, if, like I was dating someone and they did OnlyFans, if I knew like basically everything that they're doing with it, I think that I would not have a problem with it, because there's that
That's what I mean.
transparency.
Yeah.
There's nothing secretive about it. There's no
Right.
like, okay, well, I'm gonna particularly send this individual a lot of messages because they're giving me more money from the videos. I think the
Yes.
transparency would make it a lot easier for people to accept. Because I think the big thing is that people think that there's like, I guess there's this element of it's their business, therefore they shouldn't even tell like their significant other. I think that if you're in a relationship, like just in particular, if you're single, obviously do whatever the hell you want, throw your shit out there, bust it
Yeah.
wide open, right? But I've always wondered, like in the relationship, I'm like, man, could this be something that, because the OnlyFans clearly is a force that's not going away. So how do we
Oh, hell no.
normalize
Yeah, no.
something like OnlyFans? Because you can be in a loving relationship and it would fucking suck if something like OnlyFans, right? Your partner decides to be like, say your partner's a very sexual person, right? And maybe
Yeah.
you're not. And the way they want to express it, because maybe you're not the person that wants to be that active, is on OnlyFans. I would have no problem with it. I'm like, if anything, that seems like,
That's
a
safe
miracle.
as hell. Yeah, that's a great
It's
great
awesome,
outlet.
right?
Like,
It's a great outlet. But I guess when it becomes something that puts a wedge between people, that's the
Yes.
dangerous part. And I think that's why a lot of people are
So,
scared of. They think that if
I
their partner's
think-
out there.
okay, so I have to bring a little bit of light to this, and it sucks because I know that like part of the whole attraction to people on OnlyFans is the fantasy of the, I'm all for, like, I'm all pro slut, but like they basically think that you're like slutting it up like 24/7, 365, and it's like, dude, like some days you want to wake up and like you don't want to fucking masturbate, but guess what you're fucking doing today? Like, so I think that that's not an attitude that, like, or at least me personally, that's typically not the attitude I have with the mentality I have behind being with my partner or anyone really. Like, it doesn't feel like a job, and if it fucking does, please find someone else.
Of course.
Yeah, so like I think that's part of it. Like, they have a preconception of what it would be like to have someone with an OnlyFans, and in reality, like, you're gonna see like your girl's not over there like, oh yeah, like really, like there's times where it's frustrating and like shit, lighting doesn't work, and you know what I mean, like you don't feel sexy, and this fucking you just don't want to be doing this, but it's something that like takes commitment. And I think like it's just you basically, I think that you get a glimpse of it being more work. I understand that people do it for fun, but if you want to be anything remotely, like if you want to bring in any sort of significant cash, I mean anything more than maybe $100 a month, you are putting work into this shit every fucking day. You don't have a day off.
So you I guess a question that I have is, so you had mentioned you have to put in a lot of work. So what do you do? Like, how much time do you spend each day trying to cater towards your fans? And like, what does your work consist of? Is it like do you spend a lot more time on videos, or do you just post pictures just to post pictures to be relevant? How does the process work, I guess?
Okay, so I try to be as real as possible. Like, it would suck if I had like a lower sex drive than I do. I mean, I'm not hypersexual per se, but like it's you know what I mean? Like, so I try to like harness that. Like, if I'm gonna do something, I'll try to find a creative way that I'm gonna go play with myself somewhere, or I'm gonna, you know what I mean, to make it interesting. If I can record, if I can take pictures. So it's kind of more like I try to make it more like people are just like peeking into my life. But so let's say I have, you know, sometimes people ask you to do custom videos. Custom videos are a great idea on paper. As far as like doing them, they can be a lot of fun because you actually get. I'm really into psychology and like getting into people's kinks. Like I may not be like super turned on by it, but like, please tell me how you got there. Like, let me know. I want to know everything. So I enjoy making custom videos because people get really specific about the things they want. But sometimes it makes it really difficult to fulfill when you're trying to film. You know, it seems simple to film a 7-minute video and it might take you a couple of hours. So you might have to.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. So you have to basically, unless you have like a studio in which to shoot at home, you can only do so much what you have. You can get a ring light, you can get a soft light, you can get a box, whatever. You can get stands and tripods and, you know, remote shutters and shit. But
do you have like a professional camera?
I don't. I do everything on my iPhone, which is also a pain in the dick, I will say. So I must have like 10 editing apps.
Oh wow.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So sometimes you'll find better lighting by doing, like, I'll do like a small video clip, and I feel I have an app I can extract like stills from it. It's not like a screenshot, you know what I mean? Like a screenshot kind of loses quality.
Yeah.
So sometimes I get a better shot doing that, but then other times you get a better shot doing portrait mode for pictures, which also sucks because you have to have your hand on a shutter, or you have to have someone else help you out, and it's that takes a lot also. But then if you have limited space or shitty lighting in your house, it's devastating to like doing work. It's really like, it's so much lighting, you have no idea, and so much learning of how to do it. It does not, it's fucking simple. I mean, any photographer, like whether it's nature photographer or whatever, will tell you, I mean, that's most of it, like framing and lighting and focus, and you're doing it for yourself. Unless you're lucky enough to have someone that you work with, which is also another thing, because, you know, do you cut them in on your work? Because even if it is your partner, like there's a lot of things to consider.
So how many hours a day do you put into it, I guess?
So I tend to shoot like I dedicate entire days, probably like 3 days a week, and then like every day, no matter what, about an hour and a half of just like either recording or editing, posting. But yeah, it's a lot of work. You got to watermark things, and where you post them is a pain in the ass. Like, you know, some places, like I have a ManyVids account, so some places will allow you to post certain videos. Some places have, like, I think ManyVids, you can't do anything where all 4 limbs are tied and there's any penetration. So like they're very specific rules.
BDSM stuff, essentially.
Yeah. So there's, you got to know where your audience is and what you charge. There's also that. So whatever you charge people, so people think that you do not get taxed. You very much get taxed. So you pay a quarterly self-employment tax, which, like, I'm 34 and I'm childless, so it's a good like 26-ish%, maybe a little more of whatever I make. And then OnlyFans themselves takes 20% off top.
Oh wow! You know? So you get charged like almost 40.
No joke. Oh yeah, they're pimps.
Oh wow. So okay. So I actually have a question. So did you have an OnlyFans before the pandemic? And
yes.
You know, you did. Okay. So did business like boom with the pandemic?
So yeah. So I had an OnlyFans. So I had a Patreon last year, and Patreon was like, a lot of podcasters use Patreon, but I guess there was a lot of adult workers or sex workers that were doing, that were selling their adult stuff or whatever. And they kind of had a rule where you had to make things like, I couldn't post a nude directly to my Patreon. You have to like post it to like a Dropbox and then link the Dropbox to Patreon. But like at some point in the last year, they decided to shake off all the sex workers, and they got rid of all of that. You can't even link to like, you can't do that. So the only thing they allow is like our nudes with no sexual implications whatsoever. So, you know, your potential drops a ton. Yeah. So I had a Patreon, and they shut it down. So they you know, it was discouraging, but January rolled around, and I right in January, I was like, I'm just going to start my OnlyFans like legit and just put in, you know, all my effort towards it. So the first month, I think I made, okay, like I said, it was the first, like people, I'm sure, people that know you, people in high school, I do know that like you get to see where your breakdown is, like where your customers come from, and a lot of them come from the place where I graduated high school.
Oh shit, no way.
Oh yeah, so like I
That's
don't know
funny.
who you are, because you can have like an anonymous account, but I do
Yeah.
know you're jerking off to me, and we know each other, which is fine. That's
funny.
fine. But, oh, by all means, I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Shit, you can jerk off to me every hour on the hour as long as you subscribe to whatever I'm putting up.
It'll be like that
Don't
nerd that was in the back of the room, like staring at you in high school, and he's like, "Damn, I
Accurate.
can finally do it."
Paying
That's kind
$10.99 now.
I was also that fucking nerd. So like people didn't realize they knew me, and they were like, oh shit. So like I think there's a part of I'm not exactly that person I was back then. They're like, oh. So yeah, there's back to how this, like, what subscriptions really mean. So I just said a regular subscription is usually pretty low, or a reasonable amount, $10, $15, whatever. But you have to pay to unlock like certain things. Then I do something a little different. So what I do is I charge more upfront. So mine's like $29.99, but you pay nothing to unlock anything. Like everything's always like posted, you know what I mean? So there's no additional whatever, like paywall. So I was actually about to dive into doing one the other way and seeing, it's not even seeing which one makes more, it's just giving people the option, I guess.
Yeah.
But
is
it's
it kind of like kind of like a present, and like you pay to enter, and then you can kind of choose which one you want, and so maybe people get satisfaction of like unlocking it. Is there some psychology with that? I guess
so. Yeah, I don't know, but I guess we're gonna find out. So yeah, so in the beginning when I first started, it made quite a lot of money. I think it was like $1,700 the first month, and that was like take home.
Oh shit! After taxes.
Accurate. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. After their fee, because like the taxes you're paying out of your own thing. I don't think they take it out. They just send you a you got to pay it on your own, which is wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah. So I made good money, and then I think it dropped out to, I expected it to be, I said I'd be happy if I was making like $700 a month, like, you know what I mean? Like I live in North Jersey. We pay fucking a lot of rent. That's just over half my rent, and I still have a lot more bills to take care of otherwise. So I think down in February and March, I think that's basically where I was like hovering like $700-800. And I have no problem chatting, like putting out numbers. You can pretty much go to people's OnlyFans, and a lot of times if you know how many fans they have, or you can probably figure out.
Yeah, you can kind of do the math
what
on
they
them.
make. Yeah. But when the pandemic hit, I think I made like $2,400. Like,
holy shit.
and it was wild. Yeah, I think I was like 7% of OnlyFans, like the top 7%. And it was kind of overwhelming. But you saw those checks were coming in.
Yeah.
And the minute that money was gone, it's not that it dropped off like a ton, but you could see, you know what I mean? And then, so after doing a little bit of research online, asking a bunch more sex workers, like this time, so right now when people go back to school, and this happens to be the same for restaurants too, how they're like slow. So August and September are always like dead. And it happens to be the same. Yeah, it happens to be the same with OnlyFans. And by that, I mean, you still make money, but you could see the drop in overall whatever. Then there was, I don't know if you guys heard, there was a thing with, who Bella Thorne is.
Yeah, so I was actually going to ask you about that, but you go ahead.
Yeah. So essentially Bella Thorne is, what is it, like a former Disney chick?
Yeah.
Disney actress. All right. Yeah. So again, a girl that like a lot of people grew up jerking it to. So they're, I mean, that's like I said, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no.
But she decided to dip her toe into the OnlyFans thing for research. And here's my thing: if you're going to have the opportunity to be public about sex work, period, like I am right now, it is and you are a sex worker because that is what she is doing. She is selling nude pictures for money. You are now a sex worker, despite what she is insisting. Like, she's like, I'm not a sex worker. I'm like, homie, sit on down here with the rest of us hoes. You're welcome, but don't fucking don't. Yeah.
Do you believe it really was for quote unquote research, or she
no? She probably got the exact same thing. She saw there was a market, and that's fine.
Yeah, because she already posts things like that similar on her Instagram.
That's right. I heard that there was. Yeah, there's nothing like you know what I mean. I don't know that it's all right. So she charges, I think it's like $20 a month. Fine. She made $1 million in 24 hours. Good for you, girl.
So wait, so that's after the 40% tax or the 20% tax?
That's before. Then in a week she made $2 million. Again, go girl. Now here comes my problem. She charged people. So I remember how I said there's pay-per-view. So you can put whatever fee you want behind your pay-per-view thing. So she posted a picture that was a picture set that was implied nudes, not necessarily nudes. And she basically said they were nudes and they weren't. Or they weren't full, they were like implied nudes. Like, people want to see you like the most lewd, like spreading it, like they've like whatever, but they paid money for it. And it was $200 fucking she charged to unlock that. So, and it turns out that's not what they got. So people freak the fuck out. They charge their cards back. They're like, I didn't pay for that. And then instantaneously, OnlyFans, which also has an incident of like not fixing a bunch of features when they break and a bunch of dumb shit, decided that they were going to limit the amount of money that you can now
so
charge for unlocks.
A lot of things for other people now.
Yes, it affected us directly. They stopped. The biggest tip you can get, I think, is $100. And like, listen, I don't get tips that are $100, but there are women that fucking do, and that's not fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, that's just not fair. Yeah. So basically, they got limited to $100, and you can only charge, I think it's $50 for an unlock thing. Like, some people have videos that are worth $150, and that's not, that sucks. So it's basically forcing people to leave the platform. And also, like, OnlyFans has a bit of like, they really supported the whole. I think Cardi B has an OnlyFans too, which I really have. Like, listen, girl, again, go get it, but like, seriously, get the fuck off our website, because when it comes down to it, you're not standing up and being like, yo, sex work has to be accepted. I get it that you're making songs about fucking wet ass pussy. Yes, cool, awesome. But if you have this is what you do, because this is also what you fucking do. It is your fucking responsibility to get up there and be like, this is something you should be looking at. I don't.
And to a certain degree, she's actually taking attention away from people that actually need it, because Cardi B already can do photo shoots and things like that.
Have your own website, girl. Like, just don't be on this.
That. Yeah, so now basically taking a portion of the market to her, and to be honest, she does not need the money. Just like Bella Thorne did not need the money, and that's basically what happened, where she screwed everyone, screwed you guys over, and then just rolled out. Because I mean, there's some people that will never make $2 million in their entire OnlyFans.
And not only that, but like, she had to fuck people over for it. So I don't know how great of a worker that really makes you. Like, you're just a fucking asshole.
And did she get the money though? Like, once all this happened, did she get the money? That's my question. Like, did she actually get the money?
I don't know. I have no idea. But I do know that she and her sister spent a good amount of time online directly after that happened, sitting there and fighting with sex workers that I like personally link with on Twitter, and like talk about like, she's not a sex worker, like, y'all are sex workers, I don't know what the fuck you want from us, like, just like shitting on the whole industry. You don't get to come into, at least, listen, this goes for everything. Like, you don't get to jerk off to porn and then shit on porn, like porn stars or people that do that film adult content. You don't get to do that. You don't get to enjoy hip hop and shit on black people. That's not how this works. You don't get to shit on someone that is providing a service that you are enjoying. That is not how that works. You are to sit there and be real with yourself and be like, I'm here, like, if I enjoy it, then I'm there to support it, not like support it freaking behind closed doors and shit on it when I'm in public. That's how I feel about kind of everything. And that's exactly what that's kind of the energy I bring to the whole freaking thing. That's what you should be doing if you have the face like Cardi B. And that's, what, unfortunately, someone would have to introduce me to their mom and I'd have to come out and say, but I stand behind that. Like, you can shit on me all you want, but if I'm meeting someone's mom or dad for the first time and like, think about what you want, but like, you can't tell me you've never watched porn in your life because you're fucking lying to yourself. Go for it, but you're lying to yourself.
So has the monthly thing, like, I'm for, I guess those that don't know, I heard that because of the whole Bella Thorne incident, instead of getting paid weekly, it's now monthly. Has that
there's
affected
like
you?
7 or 9 countries in which it didn't happen in the U.S. As far as I know, it didn't happen in the U.S. But they're known to change policy like overnight. They're known to like leave things
just
like
drop it on you.
Kind of, but they're more also known to like have things that aren't fixed for like a month or two. You know what I mean? Like, there was in the beginning, there was like a giant deposit that like went to some bank account that never existed, and that took me like 3 weeks to get it back. Like, it was like a weird, you know what I mean? Like, shit like that. Or like, I know there was a bunch of girls that couldn't send out mass messages, and like, when you have a pay to unlock, like if you have a video that you pay $5 to unlock and you can't send it to your 3,000 or however many followers, think about how much money you're losing just by the sales. No, not everyone's gonna buy, but like, what is this? The average of sales or whatever it is, or there's like some statistic. It's something like 10% of people that you advertise to will be interested in what you do, and then like 3% of them may actually buy. And think about how much money you really lose when you can't send out mass messages for over a month. Like, a lot of these, again, I have like a thing where you don't have to pay a paywall, but some of these women live off of that. And OnlyFans kind of has the reputation of not fixing that stuff. And now with the Bella Thorne thing, they're almost distancing themselves from sex work, which is weird because we fucking feed you. Like, it's weird.
Ironically, that's exactly what I was about to say. Ironically enough, OnlyFans would not be anything if it weren't for the adult entertainment industry on there.
Right? Like
no one goes on OnlyFans and pays $10 to see someone play a violin, but you
that's
will go
exactly
on
what I was
there.
gonna say. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
support
pay
the
$30
piano
to
teachers
see
on there,
someone's
but like,
butthole.
yeah, you didn't make it. It's kind of you can't pull out the rug from underneath us. There's also people will also wonder like why you don't open up your own site because okay, so there's
So I was actually going to ask you that too. You know,
the
could you do
stigma
that?
behind sex work actually stops you from being able to process credit cards a lot of times. So websites will drop
Wow.
you. Yes. If they find out that you're selling, like there's a whole market for like panties and used socks and like shit. People will buy your stuff that you've worn and whatever. If PayPal, for example, finds out that you ever use their service for anything like that, it's immediately shut down. You have no, like, that's it. There's no appeal. Fuck you. There's the door. And that goes for a lot of credit card processors. They just either won't approve your ability to process their card, or when they find out that it's sex work, they knock you down. They won't process your shit. Or they hold your money. Like, so yeah, there's a giant stigma behind. The stigma goes so deep that even taking money fucking sucks.
So
there's also other services.
Speaking of the stigma, do you think? So let me ask you this: so with the stigma, so there's like feel like we've talked about like this like a lot of negative things about OnlyFans, but do you think there's a correlation between like this sexual revolution that women are going through right now and
Hell
OnlyFans?
yes.
Because it seems like a lot of girls now are like the big like going back to the WAP controversy.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys were mad saying, "Oh man, I don't want to listen to a song
Can I
about
just say
like
this?
wet ass pussy."
Do we remember the Bloodhound Gang?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Thank you. So that fucking song was like, so what? We're not mad about that one? Fuck that sexist bullshit. No, fuck that shit.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, where essentially right now it seems like men are basically we have songs like "Slob on a Knob" by Corn on the Cob, shit like that.
Literally.
You know?
So I mean, like,
I'm wondering if it's just the pushback is mainly because most people are just not used to it yet, and give it some time.
There we go.
Then it's obviously become normal.
There was a tweet that went viral that I almost fucking pissed myself over laughing because it was so stupid. This guy's like, guys are allowed to fuck on the first date, women ain't. And I was like, who are they fucking then? What?
Wait, what?
Like, did he ever put that together? I don't think that's all. Like, put that together. He was like, he basically said like, men can do it without stigma and women can't. Then who are you fucking, bitch? So I tend to do that to people that are yeah. So like the young, don't leave me around your kids. I won't fucking tell them bad things, but they will leave with progressive thoughts.
I'm wondering, is like, for example, like with the whole like women empowerment thing. So what exactly is OnlyFans doing, in your opinion, to empower women, other than obviously women? Just because to me, I guess the argument against it is it empowerment if you're adding a dollar monetary amount to it? Like I mean
that's the empowerment part, because like we were doing this shit for fucking free before.
Mm-hmm. But there's nothing wrong with it.
Like if you've ever been in love with somebody and like how old are we? You know what I mean? Like it's 2020. We've all had camera phones for how long? I think I know the amount of people that I know that have never sent a nude pic are definitely, I can count them on one hand. And if you're gonna sit there and like pretend like you haven't, like I'm not saying they're unsolicited, but you have. Like you probably have. So I think that a lot of it becomes like they're just mad that like you get paid, but like I think it's empowering as fuck that you're just like, wait, hold up. I was doing this shit for free before. Like I'm paying bills doing this. It's one thing if it's chump change, but like I said, if you're really putting in effort towards this is like paying your bills. And you have a lot of
it's capitalism, if anything. It's almost capitalism more than empowerment.
I had this discussion the other day. I said the same thing until I was told wrong, and they're right. So capitalizing or capitalism on this is basically would involve, okay, so OnlyFans is capitalizing on me or us. Like they're using our work to make money. But when it comes to like yourself, it's not considered like capitalizing. You're just making money. You're providing a service. So it's empowering that, it can provide like real money, but also like it definitely happens with men also. There's a standard, a beauty standard you have to fit. But like because of our limitations, like you can only be physically exposed to so many people in your life. Like you may, let's say you're whatever looking, you're really specific looking, you're awkward or whatever. Like I have fire red hair and I have tattoos. Like not everybody around you might be into that, but like on the internet, everybody can look you up and someone's going to be into you. I don't give a shit if you look like a fucking troll. Someone's into trolls legit, like really, really into trolls. So like,
does like differentiating yourself between like everyone else, like obviously that helps, but do you kind of play into like the shock factor type of thing to get people to come to your page?
So do you mean like posting like
straight
up like
instance, well, I guess with podcasting we'd give like like samples or like of the audio clips of what we
Got it.
talked about, kind of like grab them in, you know? Is there something that you guys do that's very similar to that?
There are people that choose to, give out like free tidbits. I choose not to. Like my Instagram is provocative enough. I get enough fucking things reported for fucking no reason. So whatever. I feel like if you're willing to pay for it or you fucking ain't. That's how it is. Like, I don't lower my value. I think I had one sale that just ended the last day in August, and it's the only sale I've ever had since the beginning of my OnlyFans. It's not like knocking people that charge $5. I don't think you can start making money doing this if that's what you charge, because people are never going to be happy if your price goes up, but they'll always be grateful if your price goes down.
Mm-hmm.
So so let me ask you this though. So the empowerment component of it is like, you know, like you said before, like there's a market for everything. You know, if you look like a troll, there's someone that's willing to pay X amount of dollars for it.
Oh yeah.
So do you think that we're gonna get to a point where, I guess the one thing I've always wondered is that before people would, you know, take selfies, you know, take pictures of their asses, their dicks, tits, whatever for free, right? So now it seems like everyone, if you have something that is considered, you know, I guess unusual, or, you know, if you're unusual,
or like some sort of draw.
Yeah, I'm wondering now if it's like now we're gonna grow up with a generation that's gonna be like, all right, there's $1 attached to certain things, when maybe there shouldn't be necessarily.
I kind of think there should be, and this is so. I think a friend of mine, my friend Tom, who was we've been friends like 15, 20 years now. He always taught me, pay for your porn. It's not that you don't. It's not that you have to. Yeah. But like, you're supporting a fucking service that you clearly enjoy and use. And he's like, you know, that's just like the fucking right thing to do. And when it comes to this shit, like, you know what? Like, it's different if it's in our bedroom. I'm not charging you a fee there, but if you're looking, I think there should be a fucking dollar attached, like, to work. Like, this is not, like, you know what I mean? It's different. You know, it's not even different. Fuck it. Even if you take fucking pictures that just happen to be good and you really didn't put that much work into it, but they happen to be good and people are willing to pay, like, fuck that. People should be willing to fucking pay for your seeing you fucking naked. If you so choose to market it, that like you being naked. And it's funny because there are guys, quite a lot more guys than I thought, or a lot more guys than I expected, I should say, that have OnlyFans, and they're straight men. And if we're being real about it, it's mostly men in general. Like, don't get me wrong, I have people I subscribe to, and I support, but like the vast majority of people that pay for this kind of stuff are men, and that doesn't mean straight men. That also means gay men. So I know straight guys that have OnlyFans, and like, we know like the majority of people that subscribe to you are men, and like, that, support the shit out of that. Like, you don't have to be fucking gay exactly. You don't have to be gay to make money on it. I think a lot of it. I think that makes a big difference to guys when guys get involved.
That's like a good-looking person, for example. It's like, for example, like, should every good-looking person, you know, be a model, right? Some people are like, that's not where their values are, maybe. And not to say like you have less values than OnlyFans or not. That's not even remote.
No,
But I'm wondering if we're gonna get to a point where people start looking at themselves like, oh man, I'm hot as shit. I need to charge people to see this shit, you know? And I'm wondering, is that a healthy way for society to go towards? Because
not necessarily, but it's not necessarily. I don't see it being like inherently bad. I think it's finding, like I said, it's more like finding that something you've been doing for free, someone's willing to pay money for. And I don't think it's going to be such a prevalent thing that, like, I mean, a lot of people say they're going to make OnlyFans. A lot of people say they're going to be a fucking stripper, and then they get there, and that shit's no joke. Like, being a stripper is fucking hard. Like, it's not. I don't even know. I have a pole at home. I've never like been a successful stripper because I can't look sexy while I'm fucking beating the shit out of myself.
Strippers are athletes. That shit is not easy.
That's fucking hard.
Listen, flat out athletes.
Yeah, I was a personal trainer for fucking 10 years. I'm not currently training, but that's coronavirus related. It's not like, that's like, I'm in shape. And like, seriously, I went to a fucking class where this girl was a big girl and she was the one teaching. And this girl was just like literally running circles around me. I was like, what the fuck? How do you do any of this shit? Like, forget the hard, look hot while you fucking do it. Like, it's just, I was like, how do you even do it? Like, what? So strippers, like, if y'all go to fucking see strip clubs, I'm just saying, you're under tipping. I don't care what you tip. So there's a lot more risk to being a stripper. But think of how many people go, oh, I'd be a stripper. Like, you know, like, it's some easy way out. Damn, that's a lot more fucking work than I think it is. And I think that happens with OnlyFans too. People are like, oh, I could do it. And I think that happens. They come out and say they could do it, but they're not very vocal about when they fail to do so. Or when they choose to be like, oh shit, that was a lot of fucking work. So I think right now it seems like there's a large saturation of people that are, you know what I mean? Like, a large number of women that are people in general that are saturating this kind of market and making it seem like what you said. but I don't think that a lot of these people are sticking around and actually doing, like choosing this as a career path. I don't think that a lot of people actually, they get involved in this, want people to know like outright that it's them. Like, you know, some people, you can do things that are relatively anonymous or that are relatively, you know, you can't tell, like I have a partner, he can't be in things, but like we do things together. I just make sure I edit things so that you can't identify the guy. And you can make money on that. Some people like the anonymity and some people will pay for that. But I think that there's a lot, like there might be appeal to doing that, but I think that when it comes down to it, people really see what's involved. They're like, oh, well, not what I thought it was. And I think I don't know that it would end up in like saturating the market so that everyone wants to charge. But shit, fucking if everyone wants to charge and there's a market for it, let them make money. And that goes for you and everyone else. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on and explaining all this and, you know, I guess giving insight on OnlyFans, because there's a lot of stuff that I didn't even know. And I'm sure too, we can speak for the same thing that, you know, there's a lot of stuff that we didn't even know.
This was definitely an incredible conversation because like, you taught me things I had no idea about.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me on. I
no worries.
You know, so you said you do have OnlyFans. If you want to let people know where they can find you and your Instagram and all that stuff.
So yeah, my Instagram and my OnlyFans, it's Instagram.com and it's Jess_the_siren. And same goes for my OnlyFans. So JessTheSiren, pretty easy to find. You're welcome to DM me. Don't DM me your fucking dick pics. No one wants to see your dick pics.
Do not send it.
If you send me a dick pic, I will send you a bigger, meaner looking dick. Don't do it.
Do you have a library of stuff
I've
like
ever
that?
heard.
Do you have a library of bigger dicks?
What's that?
Do you have a library picture of bigger dicks?
I fucking may as well. Yeah, pretty much. Like,
that's funny.
I think it's they're looking for an equal but opposite reaction. Like, here's my dick. Like, maybe it's your chance to put your vagina on the picture. And I'm like, but not. Yeah. So last person that did that real quick, I sent, if you guys don't know the kink, there's a kink for small penis humiliation. So if your junk is small, so people get off. Oh yeah. Like they want to be told like, you're an, oh my goodness, that fucking changed my life. So I was like, a man just paid me to make fun of his penis.
What?
And be very mean.
Oh,
and it changed a lot. Yeah, I think when it kind of changes your perspective on things. You're like, wait a minute, hold up.
Oh wow.
So the last person that sent me his dick pic, I sent a little clip of the last small penis humiliation video that I had made. Because I was like, you're here for this? I was like, here's a sample. I'll give you a great deal on your own custom video. And he was like, I was like, yeah, so don't send dick pics. But yeah, JessTheSiren on both.
Please do not send dick pics to JessTheSiren, please.
Or anyone. I mean, do you guys want dick pics? Unless you guys want dick pics, that's fine.
No, we're good.
I like how you thought about it. You were like, perhaps.
No.
I'm not. That's again nothing wrong with that. But yeah. So I also have a many vids where you can buy videos and pictures and custom videos or whatever. Basically, without the commitment of having to pay for an OnlyFans subscription, you can buy them, buy the video, buy the clip, or I can make your own. And it's many vids and again, JessTheSiren. They're pretty easy to find. Pretty simple. I'm really open to questions. I usually answer DMs. It might take me a minute, but I always I do get back to people, and I like to tip when people tip me. I also send videos and custom stuff, and I try to treat my fans well and make shit they really actually enjoy.
Mm-hmm. No worries. Yeah, like I said, we'll link that in the bio. All those links that that you had mentioned, so people can reach out to you or not send dick pics.
Definitely not.
If you like this podcast, smash that like button, that follow button, wherever the fuck you listen to us. Follow us on our social media platforms, Instagram at Puzzled Minds Podcast, Twitter, Puzzled Minds Pod, and our email, puzzledmindspodcast@gmail.com, where we do encourage everyone to submit a topic that you would like to hear us talk about. Last but not least, thank you at the official block of the week on our Instagram for our weekly episode cover artwork. Other than that, everyone stay puzzled.